Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Lounge podcast with your hosts, Liz and KT. And today we are going to be reflecting on 2025. A little housekeeping before we get into it all. Me and Liz, after this episode, we will be taking a 2 to 3 week break from uploading on the podcast. I mean, we did this last year too. It's the new year. We have to get ourselves together, really take in the new year, and then we'll be back and better than ever in 2026. But to keep back or to keep updated on when we'll be back exactly, make sure you follow our Instagram, which is always linked down below. But without further ado, we're going to get into our life update.
Yes, you guys, and Happy New Year whenever this goes live. It'll be New Year's Eve, which is crazy to think. Honestly, it's perfect timing for reflecting on 2025, but it's crazy how fast this year has gone. But little life update, obviously it was Christmas and holiday time finally. As always, every single year, I swear it flies by, but I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday, and I was in my I want to say quote unquote like only child era because my siblings are out of the country for a trip. So this was like our first Christmas not all together. So we actually did like Christmas dinner, just like my siblings, my parents, the day before they left for their trip. So that was nice. But then like actual Christmas festivities, I was like the only child my age. It was like me. And then from that, the youngest other person was a 6-year-old. So it felt so weird, not having like a kids table or like my siblings and cousins to like talk to like that. But other than that, I've just been really enjoying the Christmas holiday festivities. I've been eating good, I swear, 24/7, just with like family in town. There's always leftovers, or we're always going out to eat, or like food that's never cooked is always being cooked. So I've just been really enjoying the holiday season. But that's my little life update for you guys.
I have been living a similar life to Elizabeth, just enjoying the holiday season, and I love Christmas as well. Literally my favorite holiday. And I know a lot of people every year are like, it doesn't feel like Christmas. But for me, this season, it really felt like Christmas. I was really excited about that, and I did put in the effort to make it feel like Christmas. So I will say that I did my, annual tradition of watching the Polar Express on Christmas Eve as I'm going to bed. So that was nice. I did a lot of baking. I made these cookies. I made some corn dip that I saw on TikTok, which was a hit. But yeah, I just had a really good Christmas holiday time. Lots of family time, which I love. Not the day after Christmas, but the day after Christmas. My family and I on my mom's side, we met up and we had a little game night, which I loved. It was so good for the soul. Just all the family time I get over the holidays. It just kind of reminds you this is the point of life. Life is worth living. And all that's missing is seeing my friends. But we will hopefully do that soon. But yeah, enjoying lots of family time. And then I've also have been enjoying the days between Christmas and New Year's Eve this year. Honestly, usually these days drag on for me and I don't really enjoy them. I'm so bored. Can we do something else? But this year, I don't know. I've come at it from a different approach. I'm just really enjoying how it is really a restful, joyous, I don't know, it's days or I don't feel pressured to do something and be productive. So I'm really just taking in the time to rest, even though every day I've had to do something. But still I've enjoyed sleeping in and going to sleep with no alarm and just vibing. So I've really been enjoying these days so far.
Emphasis on the sleeping in. I don't even have like anything necessarily to get up for, on my daily basis, like not like Kenny who has school and everything, but something about just like the holidays, I have been sleeping in, you guys. Like my mom has been coming up to wake me up because I'm not up when I need to be up because we have things to do. So I've also been enjoying just the holidays. I swear it actually allows me to fully sleep in. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get into our favorites of the week. And my favorite of the week, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see it. But I don't know what this is called, but the TikTok Get Ready With Me headbands with if you're listening on audio, I swear, the TikTok headband that everyone has when they do their little get readies with me. My sister apparently has one. And, since she's not here, I've been very much graciously borrowing it. And you guys, it's life changing. I swear, yes, it is just a headband, but something about the way it just pulls your hair back, and then just getting ready, doing my skincare with it, getting out of the shower and just putting that on and everything. Yeah, it really sets the mood. And I guess I see why, I swear, every single get ready with me or get unready with me, they have that headband. I swear, it adds a little something to the routine.
And for my favorite of the week, it is my skincare fridge, which I feel like can kind of, fall on the same line as a get ready with me headband. But for Christmas, I got surprised with a good molecule skincare fridge, and I love her. And just like all the like skincare I put in it, it's just like I can't even tell you guys like the feeling when that cool product just hits your face. Like it just adds like having cool skincare isn't like a luxury thing, but it just feels like luxury. I don't know. It's just something more interesting, more exciting that is added into my like everyday routine. So I love her. I literally have everything in that fridge except for like face wash stuff, and it's literally perfect. So if you are like, oh, like I don't know if I want one, get one. It is literally the best.
No, because I swear it feels like I've never been to like a spa or got like an actual facial done, but I feel like that's what it would feel like. Just like the coolness, the cooling feeling. Yeah, Kennedy's gonna put me on because I think I'm gonna have to get a mini fridge for my skincare. I will have to explain to my parents that this is a need. Yeah, because if not, my skincare is just gonna end up in the fridge downstairs. So it's a win-win situation.
Exactly. And I feel like your bathroom has like the perfect amount of counter space. Like it is perfect. And I just realized I'm going to brag for a second because when Elizabeth was talking about her headband, it reminded me of something that I didn't say in the life update. You guys, I won another giveaway. What is my luck? It was a Christmas miracle. And this one was like probably one of the biggest giveaways I've ever won before because I won a Tarte Tripping with Tarte room drop giveaway. And I think a headband, like one of those get ready with me skincare headbands, is included in that from what I can remember. I don't know. I don't really know what was in the rooms, but all I know is that that happened and I still can't believe it till this day.
No, because the way KT's been like DMing the CEO of Tarte is actually really crazy to me. And maybe I'll be a winner of KT's giveaway of the things that she doesn't want. So I will be on the lookout for when I have to enter that giveaway.
No, for real. Literally, I've given stuff to Kelsey, Elizabeth, and my mom. Maybe they might get some more stuff. I mean, Elizabeth just won another giveaway from me today. She won herself some So de Janeiro body mist. Kelsey was too slow. But yeah. So it's really like giveaways are truly the gift that keeps on giving.
I like the sound of that. And now we're gonna go ahead and get into, well, this isn't really pop culture, but I just need a moment to rant you guys, and I feel like the listeners will understand. But I just need to complain about the lack of Christmas hauls this year, because when did 2025 become the year of no Christmas hauls? I live for the annual Christmas hauls. Always like the little disclaimer, like I'm not bragging, I'm so thankful. Just like the whole gist of it is so nostalgic. And I swear, I feel like my feed barely had any hauls this year. Like I'm still over here, I'll go on YouTube, I'll like refresh my little feed, and there's still just a lack of hauls. And even, I don't know, maybe my like TikTok algorithm wasn't doing its thing, but I feel like there was a lack of hauls on there too. So I'm like, when did we decide that 2025 was the year of not having hauls? Because I personally love the Christmas hauls.
Yeah, I'm right there with Elizabeth. I would say I got a lot more hauls leading up to Christmas on TikTok. Like I had a bunch of like the rich kids, like, my family, we're gonna be in Cabo, we're gonna be in Turks and Caicos, like, we're opening our presents later. But on Christmas Day, silent on TikTok, on YouTube. I think like usually my feed is full after like on Christmas Day after Christmas. I think by like by yesterday or a day or two ago, I had like 3 people. Like I'm not even joking, 3 to 4 people that I subscribe to make Christmas hauls. And that's insane. Like by this point, I've watched pretty much every single Christmas haul in my subscription feed, and it's not a lot. And even in like my main YouTube feed, like usually a bunch more will pop up. Nope. If I do see some, it's like the same people, like the same 1, 2 videos. Like no one's making Christmas hauls this year, which is so annoying because like again, that's my favorite part. And I understand, work life balance, blah, blah. But I'm like, y'all, those videos do not take long to film and edit. And then I know some people, as they get older, they're like, I feel weird. But in my opinion, I feel like hauls only get better as you get older, in my opinion, because you're just, you know yourself more. Like, you're only going to ask for specific things. I don't know. I feel like the older you get, the better the hauls get. And I'm like, girl, I don't care if you're 30, 40, 50, 20, whatever. I want to see what you got for Christmas. Like, that's going to help me give me some inspo for like what I want to buy with my Christmas money.
Emphasis on the hauls getting better when people get older, because I swear that's when the gifts are more of like people like really listen to like what you need, or they notice little things like someone was getting a kitchen aid, like getting like different things of that like avenue and everything, and just seeing it all, it's just like, oh, I just love the Christmas haul vibe. So here's my official petition, you guys, for 2026 to bring back the Christmas hauls, because normally in past years I will still be watching Christmas haul videos leading up to like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But the way I'm all caught up on all of the videos of everyone that posted, shout out to Kennedy for posting. Go check out her YouTube channel. You know, she fed me on whatever day it was that she posted, because it was the only one that was posted that day. So yeah, let's bring back the Christmas haul, you guys.
That part. And now we're going to get into what we've been watching. No shocker here. I watched a lot, but I'll get into it quickly. So I finished I Love LA, as in the last episode was out of the season, and I finished it. It was pretty good. I was actually shook at one part about Dylan. If you know, you know, like, why would he do that? And then I watched the Wake Up Dead Man Knives Out mystery with Josh O'Connor. I mean, he looked amazing in it. I will say, not gonna lie, it took me a minute to get into. I was like a little confused on the way the story was told, but I did still overall like it, and I thought the like religious aspect of it was interesting. But I will say, like, nothing can ever beat the first Knives Out movie for me. Like, that was pure cinema. And then actually last night I watched One Battle After Another, which was pretty good actually. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I will say, in the beginning of the movie, I was like, I do not know how I was gonna like this movie. I wasn't aware of like what revolutionaries were. We don't know. They're kind of like protesters slash activists, but like to the extreme, like they blow stuff up, stuff like that. And yeah, I really liked it, and I thought it did a good like look on showing how. I mean, it isn't like the main focus point of the movie. I don't know how to describe it, but like we're seeing all this happening with the backdrop of like immigration in America, but specifically all the stuff like immigration between like the United States and Mexico, and just seeing how like immigrants like kind of have to like live and rally together and like hide and stuff like that. And I thought that was like really interesting and a really nice added aspect to the movie. And they're like, but then there's like some parts I was like, what's going on? But I feel like it was a good mix of like paying homage to like old Hollywood like action adventure movies, but still making it like more modern. With like the actors that were in it, the storylines, and just making it more of a modern story plot. Whatever, if that makes sense. So I would actually recommend it if you have the time. I mean, it's a long movie, but honestly, it did not feel like the length of the movie. So I feel like that's a good sign. And then I started the Buccaneers. I watched the first episode so far. It's really good. I just have gotten distracted by like everything holiday, so I haven't really had time to like sit down and focus on it. And then of course Stranger Things, but we're gonna get into that after Elizabeth tells us what she's been watching.
And then for my what I've been watching is I have been binging Teen Wolf, you guys. I'm almost done with season 2. And for anyone who watches it, I'm at the part where Allison has gone off the rails. She's actually insane. Her character, she was never like my favorite person, but I didn't mind her. But like right now, she's gone off the rails. She's actually crazy psycho murderer right now. So I think it's gonna be interesting just how that whole storyline pans out. But almost on season 2, I think I have like an episode left. And then me and then my parents, we've actually been watching the Harry Potter movies. These movies are like one of my favorite series of all times. I can rewatch those movies, I swear, twice a year, and they never get old. And they really are like fall, but they are like most definitely Christmas movies, you guys, because I swear every single movie has a Christmas scene, a Christmas season, a couple scenes where it's snowing and everything, and it's just like the Christmas vibes. So we've been watching those. We actually just finished watching the fifth movie, so we have three movies to go, and every single movie my dad has fallen asleep, but we're still watching, we're still getting through them. Me and my mom are having a great time. And then the other thing I watched is, of course, Stranger Things. So without further ado, you guys, me and Kenny are going to be deep diving, recapping episodes 5 through 7 question mark. Yes, 5 through 7 that came out. Spoilers are coming. Beware, we warned you guys. We are going full in depth. So look down in our show notes if you haven't watched, so you can see where you can skip ahead if you don't want spoilers. But don't blame us because we warned you.
Wow. Honestly, I feel like I low-key don't have much to say about volume two, just because I feel like I wouldn't say it's like filler episodes, because I feel like that implies that like it's not important stuff, like they just want to move the plot along. But it was a lot of like things to prepare us for the finale. And a lot of people hated it on social media, but I'm like, I loved it. So I don't know what to say to y'all. But I will say, like, the main thing that sticks out to me was Max waking up. I had been waiting for this moment since Sis was in a coma. And just the moment was just so beautiful. I was literally in tears. There was two major parts where I cried. When Max woke up, and then when like well, okay, three times I cried. So the first time I cried was when Dustin and Steve were like fighting the first time, and they got into a fist fight, and Dustin was hitting. I was like, oh my god. Like, I just cannot, like, literal tears are rolling down my face. I was like, you guys, you're supposed to be besties. What is happening right now? And then when they made up, I cried again because it's like, that's just so beautiful. Like, this is what I'm here for. And then of course, Max, like, that performance was just, I have chills thinking about it. I remember on TikTok they posted like the behind the scenes clips, and they're just saying how like filming that, literally the set just like went silent. And I'm like, girl, I went silent when I was watching it. It was just like, finally, which low key I hate that they waited this late to wake her up. We got one more episode left, but yeah, just those were the main things that stuck out to me.
I will say I'm glad that we did have like Max scenes in general though, because I was scared that we weren't like it was gonna be obviously like it happened, like second last episode she wakes up, but we weren't gonna see her at all except in the coma. So am glad that we got to see her character in different like aspects and everything. And honestly, just I love the visuals of how her character is completely different in the I don't know, in Vecna's mind world, whatever that is, compared to her character, you know, like in the real world. But yes, that scene was so good. Like Kenny said, the chills. I love that Lucas was there. Like just the parallels of when she was placed in the coma to now, and just like Lucas is holding her, Lucas was holding her there. The parallels are so good, and the edits are eating. The people know what they're doing with the songs that they're adding to them. And it was just the acting was so, so good. That scene will hands down be one of like the best scenes of Stranger Things. And then obviously the Dustin and Steve scenes, you guys. The fight scene, I love how Steve was just like letting Dustin like have at it. He wasn't like really like, yes, they were fighting, but Steve was never, at least to my recollection, he was never throwing any punches at Dustin or anything, you know? He was just kind of like letting Dustin take out his anger. Obviously, he was like defending himself a bit, but he wasn't like full on like punching him. Like it wasn't a hate, you know? It was more like they were getting out that tension. And then just obviously the scene, the when they come together, I'm like, stop. I was just seeing Dustin, it really like makes sense like why his character has been like all going through it as we've seen him go through it, and just like the effect, the impact of Eddie's death, and then just seeing how much like Steve means to him and everything. I love that so much, you guys. Yeah, they did their thing with their emotional scenes. And then my other like little thought that I have a couple, but one of the thoughts that I wanted to talk about is obviously when it all comes together. I know a lot of people were like hating about it, saying it was anticlimactic, but I'm like, I feel like it made sense, you know, the way they brought everything together about like the kind of like black hole, the three worlds, the bridge that is the upside down and everything. I will always love those episodes in Stranger Things when everything comes together and everything starts making more sense, because I'm like, finally I understand what's going on. But just the bridge and everything, honestly, me personally being one of those people that doesn't really like theorize like crazy and isn't paying attention to crazy details, I was caught off guard personally about the upside down being a bridge. And honestly, like now when I think back on it, doing my rewatch, and like when Vecna was vanished, she was in that third world or whatever, you know? So just like the pieces and the hints were there all along, but just seeing it all come together is always one of my favorite parts of Stranger Things.
I agree. And I feel like I don't know what to call it. I had an inkling that it would be something like that. Like, I don't want to say I was like, I knew exactly going to be a bridge, but I just knew in part one when they showed Erica in the classroom and we saw that little figure. I like had a feeling like, oh, like that's gonna mean something. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, they were foreshadowing this. And I don't know. And I feel like people are hating because it's not like the most complex thing. And I feel like people who are just like pretentious are like, well, blah 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 blah. But like for someone who likes things simple and things that make sense, I think it was perfect. And it like makes sense. Like I don't know why people are hating, like it genuinely just makes sense. I was gonna say something, but it was gonna be like way off topic. So we'll see what Liz has to say next.
Oh, my next one is way off topic. Watch it be the same thing you're about to say. But I was gonna say we can't leave this deep dive without deep diving Jancy situation, Jonathan and Nancy. You guys, I know I've seen so much discourse about this scene. People are like, did they break up? Are they together? Like, what's going on? I will say it was like a little like low key a bit confusing, just like the whole unproposal. Like, what is an unproposal? I have never seen that like terminology idea before. So it is like I do think that the Duffer Brothers should have made it a little bit more clear personally, because I did also leave a bit confused. But I am under the impression, and I think the Duffer Brothers have confirmed, that the Jancy scene was a breakup scene. And personally, I am a person that is happy with that. I am content with that. I can settle. While it seems that Stancy, Steve, and Nancy will not happen, and that breaks my heart as a Steve and Nancy stan, I am okay with Nancy being alone. I just don't like her with Jonathan personally. I just feel like I don't know, they don't like challenge each other's characters. I don't know, but I am glad that they finally talked. And it is like, obviously, I feel like things that we've been seeing build in the relationship of just like Nancy needing some alone time and needing like to figure things out for herself, and obviously Jonathan too. But yeah, honestly, I'm okay with the breakup scene. I'm not sad about that.
Okay, so I think the breakup scene might have changed some thoughts for me. So they're not gonna be the thoughts. I feel like Liz is gonna be like, what does that mean? No. It's not what you think. So first comment. I too was confused on that being a breakup. I was like, I fully left that season, like, or left those episodes being like, they're still together. Like, until I went on TikTok the next day and people were like, no, the Duffer Brothers said like that was a breakup scene. I was like, oh, because to me, I was like, okay, they got their grievances out with each other. That you know, they both do things that each other don't like, which I feel like is normal in any type of relationship, whether it's romantic, family relations, blah blah blah, like that happens. And like they finally just came out with all their truths. And I took unproposed as like we're not gonna get engaged, but like we're still gonna be together. Like, I don't know. And then in terms of like Jancy Nancy, like Jancy Nancy, what? Nancy or Stancy. I fear I left that episode being like, I was a Stancy girl, but like, I think I like Nancy with nobody at the end of the day. I don't think I would want her to end up with Steve, even though that was me for like the past 4 seasons, because we had those little moments. But I feel like we saw through her breakup scene, even how like Steve isn't necessarily a good choice for her,
Mhm.
because I mean, she was laughing about him having 6 kids or wanting 6 kids. So, and I feel like I remember like kind of early in Jonathan and Nancy's relationships, we heard things about how like Jonathan kind of called her out, being like, "You're just scared you're gonna end up like your mom," blah 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 blah. So I feel like if she were to go back, or if she were to get back with Steve, it would just kind of be like a full step back for her character development, because she has so much more. I feel like Steve is one. He's gonna settle down in Hawkins, find a girl who loves him, and will give him 6 kids. But Nancy is giving, she wants to go out explore the war, explore the world. I can't speak English. I've had too much sugar today. And yeah, I just don't think Nancy and Steve would be the most compatible pairing, which I'm like, oh, when Steve learns that, that's gonna be very sad. But then also, I feel like this season though, Steve was very like no, like she's a friend, and like usually it's like okay, she's a friend, but like it seemed like he was like kind of serious, like no, I don't have feelings for her. Like of course, I will always be like his first love, but I don't know necessarily if he has feelings for her and if he's really just like concerned for her as a friend.
Yeah, Kennedy, while I hate to agree, she does bring up some good points, you guys. My only thing is, why have they been teasing us for so long? Like season 4, you guys, all of this the scenes that they had, specifically the one where like she dives in, just doesn't even think about it into like the water lake into the upside down to rescue Steve. Like, what do you mean you don't feel nothing for him? I will always be holding on to a little bit of hope, even though I think it's better for me to just like accept the truth. And then if something happens, I'll just be extra happy and extra surprised about it. Yeah, that whole like Jancy scene, low key, I was like, that whole time, I'm like, okay, Steve and Dustin need to hurry up because, like, what if they're dying? They're gonna drown. And, Steve and Dustin were like taken there. I feel like there was a theme in this volume too of everybody taking their time doing things at Max and at Holly, because while their combo was really good, and I think Holly did need that little pep talk and everything, it was a good scene, but they could have had it a little bit closer to like the little portal hole. They could have like stopped over there and had the conversation. And then even after they had the convo, they were like great, like strolling, like walking, like very leisurely. I'm like, y'all need to run. Like Vecna's gonna come any moment. Have we not learned? And then at the same time, like Lucas over here is about to turn off the music, even though we learned it's not the music. But still, like, you guys, I was stressing. There was just a lot of scenes where people were taking their sweet time doing things. And oh, Will, this was the perfect segue into Will. His little like coming out moment. Like, we all knew it was gonna happen. But again, you guys, it is November 6th. The time is ticking away. We don't have much time until Vecna's plan comes to fruition. So, like, let's get going, you guys. We got more important things to worry about.
I agree. I think it was a really sweet scene, but wrong timing, bro. Like, come on now. I'm just like, Duffer Brothers, why would you do that? I'm like, the world is about to end. We got stuff to do. Time is ticking. Like, I think at this point, they're like about to, like, execute this plan. And then he's like, wait a second, guys. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so stressed for everyone right now, especially because like we just saw that Holly like came down and then Vecna took her right back. I'm like, y'all, we need to go save our girl Holly. She can't be with them other little kids that jumped her. Like, we need to get her. And they over here having a little kumbaya, which yes, I love Will for that moment. Which actually, let me talk about this scene. Actually, I love it because all these delusional Byler people were like sick about it, but I'm like, no, like it makes sense. Mike was never going to be gay, you guys. He has been with 11 since the beginning of the series, has never shown any lick of liking Mike. And I do think Mike was Will's Tammy. And I believe, wait, okay, sorry. I thought I said the names backwards for a moment, but I do believe Will end up finding someone who likes him. And I love how they're just so, honestly, I started choking up because it was honestly really sweet because like I just think of like the male loneliness epidemic and so many young men out there who just instead of just coming out as gay, they just take their rage out of being gay on women and like be in the closet, if you guys get what I mean. So it's like really sweet that it's like, guys, it is okay to be gay if you're a man. Like Will said it himself, like he still likes the same things, he just doesn't like girls. So I thought that was actually a really sweet scene and it shut up the delusional Byler people. But y'all, we could have sped it up a little faster.
I loved in that scene just like everyone's reactions, but specifically Robin, you guys, the way she was like crying so much for him and everything. And even I don't personally like Jonathan too much, but the way even he was like, because he knew and everything, low key, like Will had already come out to him in a way, in his own way. It was just seeing like those reactions. I was like, okay, you're growing on me, Jonathan. You're growing on me. I have seen theories about how like everybody was like, I forgot exactly what they say, but they say something like, I'm there for you, or like, you're not losing me, something that they say, and then like one by one they all start saying it, except for 5 people, and people are like theorizing that those are the 5 people who are gonna die. I don't know though, but it's basically, I think the 5 people was Steve, Nancy, Hopper, Elle, and Collie, yeah, were those 5 people, which low key, I wouldn't be surprised if those 5 characters are the ones to die, but I feel like it's a stretch. So I don't know. But perfect segue into my last thought of volume 2. Collie, I think is how you say her name, the sister. I do not trust her. I think we should be paying more attention to Hopper. I don't know. I feel like, yes, while she has been like pretty honest of like, obviously she thinks that her and 11 should sacrifice themselves, specifically 11 because of like the whole blood stuff and everything, and how like if 11 is alive, then it's really not gonna end. Like there's gonna be another like pop or whatever. Like, yes, she does got some truth, I guess, but I don't know. She is sus. She's always been sus to me, even in her season of like season 2 when she made her appearance. I don't know, something about her I keeping me on guard, and I feel like Hopper should voice his concerns a little bit more. I don't know. Now is not the time for him to be the dad who doesn't want to like voice his opinions. He should be voicing them.
For me, I don't know, like I don't know how to say it, like I'm watching her. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily like sus, but like sis, I'm watching you. Because again, like I do think, like Liz said, like there is like I totally understand, like, yeah, like it's gonna have to end with y'all or the cycle is gonna keep going. Like that's very valid and very true. But at the same time, her whole demeanor about it is crazy. And I'm like, girl, what you mean that one is brother? Brother's trying to kill sister. Like, what do you mean? Like, and I'm just, that's very off putting to me that you feel like you have like a familial relationship with this person. You haven't even seen him like in forever. And yeah, I don't know. And he was, I don't know really what Callie's kind of like, what she knows really in terms of like everything that happened back at the lab and stuff. But I definitely do like her whole demeanor is just kind of off putting to me.
That's exactly what it is. It's off-putting, and just like the brother stuff, like Kenny said, they've never met. So why are we calling him brother? Why? Yeah, no. Something is really off about her, and yeah, I think that's the perfect way to say I don't trust her, and my eyes will be watching her the whole time. Every single interaction in this last episode of volume 3, and then my last little thing, like. I hope we get this in volume 3 is I feel we're not paying enough attention to Henry, specifically Henry's past, like him as a little boy scout in the like the mine or whatever. I know I've seen theories that people are saying that like it was one of Brenner's people, and then like that's how like the mine flare, blah, blah, like the connections. I really hope, and I swear, I feel like we will. I feel like the Duffer Brothers won't let us down with like those plot holes, but I feel like we need to address that. And then also the high school, like the connection to all the parents, like I feel like we're forgetting little pieces here that I really hope are addressed in volume 3, because I feel like that's just going to bring everything more full circle. But specifically just like the Henry plot lines here and there, I'm like, you guys, this is obviously important, like let's discuss this a little more. But I am very very excited for volume 3 to come out, and it's just crazy that that's going to be like the last ever Stranger Things episode.
Yeah, I agree with Elizabeth. And if they don't wrap up those plot lines, especially the high school one, because why would y'all show us that? But if they don't wrap that up, it sounds like we need to take a trip to New York and see the play. That'll be our excuse. And you guys, I actually can't believe it's gonna be the end. And I know I can't remember exactly who, but I think like Caleb, Noah, Gaten, Finn, Sadie. I don't know about Millie, but I know they're planning on like watching like the finale together on New Year's Eve. I'm like, I need to see a picture of that. Like that's so sweet. It's like I'm like, can y'all invite me? Like, can I be there, please? Like, please. Like, I grew up with y'all. Let me in there. But so I hope to see a picture from that. But I'm just like, I can't believe it's gonna be the end. But I know the rewatch from the very beginning is going to hit so different once all the episodes are out. And trust, I am gonna rewatch season 5 again once that last episode drops. Like, I'm not gonna be okay.
No, because now I need to see it all like from start to finish all the way through. So I don't have to finish an episode, like finish all the episodes that are released and just be sitting there pondering and really thinking about how confused I am. But yeah, I'm so excited. And personally, I've never been like very Like the Broadway show has never really like caught my attention, but with season 5, you guys, trust, I need to watch this. I don't know why I've never thought about watching it before. So, New York trip, you guys, we'll recap it when it happens.
And I'm gonna make one more prediction, or I'm gonna make a prediction. I think in the finale, Elle's gonna die. I don't know if that's very like niche or very like cool, interesting, but like I think Sis is gonna die because I know the Duffer Brothers have kind of teased. They kind of said like, oh, there's gonna be like a lot of deaths, and then they also said there's gonna be like no like main character deaths. So I feel like they're kind of saying like a lot of people will die, but it won't be the main characters. And I feel like there's been too many main characters that they've joked about dying in interviews. So I'm like, it can't be any of them because like we know they don't play about spoilers. So I think if anyone's gonna die, it's gonna be Elle. I know a lot of people are thinking like Lucas, da da da. I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen. I don't even think Steve's gonna die, honestly. So yeah, I truly think that the only person that it makes sense would be Elle. I thought maybe Will, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense though, because like he's just a sorcerer. Like he doesn't actually have power, so it's like, why would he need to die? You know what I mean? But I'm putting my prediction now that Will or not Will, that Elle is gonna die.
Low key, I agree with Kennedy just because I feel like every character has come close to death. And while Elle has been the one like fighting like the Mind Flayer, Vecna, Demogorgon, blah, 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 she's never really come like close to death, you know, like a death scare. All these other characters, even Lucas, that big like cut down his chest and everything, like that's like that was pretty close to death experience. She's the only one that hasn't really experienced that, I feel. So I think it means something. I wouldn't be surprised either.
So yeah, that is the end of our Stranger Things talk. I hope. Comment down below what you guys think. I mean, we'll be getting our future selves when this is posted. We'll be preparing for the finale. So yeah, let us know what you think and let us know if you're going to see it in the movie theaters. I mean, I personally could not do that because like this is a show I need to like be focused. Like I can't have people around. But it does sound like a very cool experience though to like watch it with other people, like if you're into that and just be in a movie theater for Stranger Things.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into our song of the week. My song of the week is, I don't really know how you say this. It's spelled Ferxoxo. Ferox. I don't know. 1F1 by Fade and Icon. So I'm gonna play like the very beginning and then I'm gonna skip to the first verse, which is what my favorite parts. But it's too long to play all the way through for you guys. So here's my part. Yeah, you guys should check out that song. Anyways.
And then my song of the week is Come and Go by Yeet, and I'll play a little part of it for you guys. I don't know, Yeet, I feel like he might be controversial. Some people say he like fell off, blah, blah. But I don't know, I think he makes some pretty good rap music. So go listen to that song.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and get into our reflecting on 2025. Crazy to think about that the year is already over. But yeah, we don't really have like any specific organization of this. We're just gonna like really just gonna chat with you guys, really chit chat vibes, nice and comfy, thinking back on 2025 and all the highs, the lows, the unexpected, everything about 2025.
Honestly, 2025 was a pretty good year for me. Hold on. Oh, my like laptop keeps falling. Okay, we should be good now. But honestly, I'm like, I have my journal open with my 2025 like intentions that I set for the year. And I didn't really like, I don't know how to describe it. I would say I took a lot of baby steps. And I feel like in this 2025, I went into it thinking it was going to be the year that I kind of accomplish a lot of things. But I would say 2025 ended up being the year of like growth and just taking a lot of baby steps and taking the needed time to like grow in certain areas, which then could allow 2026 to be the year that I wanted to be, which I'll talk about in another episode. But yeah, I feel like it was definitely like a year full of growth, which I feel like I did not go into this year thinking it was going to be from what I can remember. I mean, there are some things like I wanted to go to New York City, which I did, and grow my faith, which I did. Yeah, but some of these things were like kind of like stupid stuff. I was like, what? Like, what does that even mean? But yeah, I would just say, like, honestly, like the big theme of this year was growth. and I would say bettering connections. I feel like I've been a better friend hopefully this year and better family member. I was very happy with the growth of the podcast that I've seen this year in my personal YouTube channel. So again, I'm going to say it again. The theme was growth, and just growth in myself or changes in myself, and just kind of just, I don't know, like different, I don't know how to describe it. Like I have just been in different situations that I didn't think I would be in, but I came out on the other side better. And I've had time to kind of like change my perspective on different things too, which I think has been good for me.
I don't know, Kenny. Maybe some people wish that you were there for them when you were in certain cities and you didn't hit them up.
Oh yeah, let's do a real time. Am I the a hole? Everyone in my family thinks I'm the a hole for a hole. I don't know why I said it like that. Everyone in my family thinks I'm the a hole for not seeing my brother every time I've been to Chicago. My mom is on my side and my dad, so that's all that really matters because like they know what's ball. And my friends don't think I did anything wrong, and I don't think I did anything wrong. Like I'm not losing sleep on it, but everyone else thinks I'm the villain. But I'm just like, you just had to be there. Like, you don't even know what our trip itinerary was. Like, it was a girls' trip. It's not a girls' trip plus family trip. And we were ripping and running. And like two of the chips, two of the, two of the trips that we went to Chicago, like, we were in Chicago for a day. We were staying in Indiana. So, like, there was no time to see anyone. And I feel like there were some narratives, some changing narratives that change people's perspectives. But I know I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm like, if my parents don't say anything wrong, then like I'm Gucci.
Yeah, I just had to emphasize, Kitty has been a great friend this year. But anyways, for 2025, you guys back on track. I agree with Kennedy. I really do think it's been a year of growth, but and just like setting foundations. I think in 2025, I really like set foundations. Maybe I started picking up kind of like Kenny said on doing different things to better myself that I'm hoping will like 2026 I'll just like take off, because I have like those foundations set, and then I can just like build on that and not like necessarily start from ground zero. While those foundations in some levels are not the most firm, like there's a little rocky there here and there, they're still there, So I feel like in 2026, it's really going to be like the year to build on those foundations. But focusing on 2025, I think my word for the year would be just like foundations and just like foundational growth. I'm joining two there. But also, I think it was a year of many firsts for me, good and bad. Good and bad first. I feel like I did a lot of things in 2025 where I completely stepped outside of my comfort zone and did things that I never would have imagined before. So obviously, you guys know I was living abroad for like the first half of the year, the first part. That was my first time, like obviously, like in college, like I wasn't living at home, like I was like away from home, but that was my first time like actually like not an hour and a half drive away, because an hour and a half isn't necessarily a crazy distance, but there is still like you can go back when you need to, you can do those things. But being like, I don't know, across the Atlantic Ocean is a distance that you can't just like go back home when you want to. So I think it really allowed me to grow in different ways and step outside of my comfort zone in ways. It really pushed me to step outside of my comfort zone in ways that I maybe would have not before, or maybe would have like hesitated or thought twice about. So I think I really had a lot of firsts. Also just like a lot of firsts with like grief and loss in those things. So I think 2025 was really a year of setting those like foundations, not only for 2026, but just for like my life in general. I think I had a lot of experiences that I think I'll look back on them in the future. That's crazy to think about, but in the future, look back on those things, and just those experiences and the things that I learned from them, I think will really like pull through in the future. So I think it was a really solidifying year in and of itself.
Yes, I think Elizabeth put that perfectly. This was a year of building a foundation. We are literally construction workers of our own lives. And, this was the year of putting the concrete down, and then now we're going to start building the walls, and we're just going to keep building rooms and rooms until we reach the top. Yay. I just literally made that up. So, I'm gonna coin that, put it in the book, and get rich like Mel Robbins. But anyways, so yeah, I would say that was pretty much both of our years. I would say we both accomplished a bunch of stuff. So I feel like maybe we should like get into our accomplishments before we get into like our lows of the year. But I'm honestly proud of myself on how I have quickly adapted to a lot of changes I've been through this year. I would say just in the beginning of the year, I was in undergrad, which is like crazy to think about that I was literally in college not that long ago. I graduated, and like towards the end, it was just so much because I feel like I didn't know what my living situation was going to be like. And then I ended up doing grad school from home. And I had a whole vision of what grad school was going to look like, and then it ended up being different. But then I am a big believer, me and Liz both, we talked about this before on the podcast. Like everything happens for a reason. And I'm so glad it has ended the way it was. Because now that I think about it, I don't even think Lexington is necessarily a city I would want to live in, which we can get into that more in a maybe New Year's episode. But yeah, and I am just like the people in my online program that I've met. I just like it's weird because like there's like some people that like I talk to because we're in the same classes together and stuff. I'm like, it's crazy how I feel like more kind of connected to these people than like I did in my like undergrad classes, which I think is very interesting. And it's like, it's all divine timing. Like it's everything happens for a reason, like I said. So I've been proud of myself on how I adapted that. A more superficial thing I would say is I love that I finally redid my homeroom, painted it myself, and just I don't know, I like still sometimes am like, wow, I can't believe I really redid my whole room. Like things I did that I'm still proud of me and Elizabeth for still having this podcast. Like, no way, we are 82 episodes in. That's a big accomplishment. Honestly, getting into driving, even though I did get into a wreck, I was thinking about putting that into a low, which like maybe I still will because it was a learning moment. But like the fact that like I finally built up the courage to like drive by myself, drive my friends around, that's huge for me because I've always just had such bad driving anxiety and just and I honestly I feel like not I don't know how to say this in a not bad way, but I feel like the wreck was probably good for me because it's like that was one of my biggest fears, and the biggest fear did happen, but I'm not letting it kind of over consume me. Like I've kind of learned like okay, like wrecks do happen. Now like this is how you get over that hump, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, so I'm that was honestly probably one of my biggest things. Is like really getting over that fear and being able to like drive by myself. And I think whenever I get a car next, I think I won't have that fear of like, oh my god, driving. It's just like I did it before, I can do it again. Just be extra careful. I feel like I'm proud of myself. I feel like I've taken control a lot more of my mental health, I would say, and like advocating for myself in the doctor's office. I would say I never like I don't know, like when I say advocate for myself, I've never had people like push back against me. I just like never spoke up. So I'm glad that I finally like felt comfortable enough to like speak up and like actually get the help and realize once you get the help like oh like I feel 100 times better. I'm like looking at my list to see like what else did I do. I feel like another thing is I felt like this year I became even more myself than I already had been in the years in terms of like kind of like fashion. But like I feel like when I say fashion, that means like I feel like people are thinking like over the extreme. But I feel like I'm just finding more pieces that are like myself and just like my personality and like my interests and stuff. I feel like I'm just getting I feel like you're your true self when you're very similar to like yourself when you were little. I feel like that's your like purest self before like society comes and like tells you how you need to be. And I feel weirdly now that I feel like I feel younger as I've gotten older with kind of just becoming more me. So I'm proud of like just building that confidence within myself. But yeah, and I'm just proud of starting my program and like going to that thing and talking to people, that thing being my orientation, and just like being more, what's the word, engaging as I can, even in online classes. And I'm proud of like all the work that I've done and the assignments and my grades. I'm just really proud of myself for that because, not a lot of people can say that they've gotten as far as I have in terms of education. So I would say those are all my big highlights and accomplishments, and I'm gonna shut up now.
And then going off Kennedy, some of these are gonna sound like similar, but I actually recently I finally got my diplomas, you guys. So it's like I feel like now it's official that I've graduated. So I think that's a big accomplishment in and of itself, you know. But like that's just like crazy to think about. I feel like that was so long ago. But 2025 in general, I think some of my accomplishments with the podcast in general, I think we had a lot of like good episodes this year, a lot of like fun doing things, but also just like looking at the reflection of our work and everything and seeing our views and everything. I know a couple episodes we got like 100 views almost on something. So this is just like really crazy to see, at least on YouTube, you guys, to see just like see it really like in fruition, the fruition of our hard work and everything. So, and one of my accomplishments with the podcast this year too is I started doing some editing here and there, helping out Kennedy. Because if you didn't know, she did a lot of like the editing and social media like when we first started, but this year we really like split it evenly more so. So just like being, I feel like that was something that I was like very nervous about doing, you know, because like I'm like, what if I mess it up? Like this is something people are gonna listen to and everything, you know, like it's gonna go out there and it reflects on both of us. But just like getting over that and just like doing it now, it's kind of like it just I don't even like really think about it too much when I have to do it and everything. So it's just like the growth of like stepping outside of your comfort zone and challenging yourself to do stuff like that. But yeah, that's like one accomplishment I would say. Another accomplishment, obviously, like just being alone abroad, I think was a big accomplishment. I feel like that was the first time, as I said, like just being away from home, but like really like doing things like on my own and making my own like full decisions, you know, of like I'm gonna spend this much, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna do this, you know, like really like taking control of that was something that I've always looked forward to doing, I think. And I think just like seeing myself actually be able to do it, I'm very excited for like the future and like things like that. And just the experience of living abroad. And I don't know, maybe in the future I'll live abroad again or something. But you know, just like that little experience, I think, is an accomplishment in and of itself. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today, you guys. Another accomplishment I would say, similar to Kennedy when she was talking about like speaking up for herself at the doctors, I would say just like really focusing and taking care of myself like mentally and everything. I feel like I'll get into this more with like the lows and everything, but I feel like this year I really learned more about like just my body overall and just learning different things that I hadn't learned about before, just like really taking control of things that I can do to better my body and just like my life in general, you know? I think that that was a really big thing, accomplishment, I would say. I'll get more into it when we get into the lows and all that stuff, but just doing little things like that was something that I'd never really like done before. I feel like, you know, like obviously go to the doctors and like they check up on you and they do like the regular stuff and everything, but like it was a different experience this year. And then I would say another accomplishment was just like being home with my family. I think I would say it's an accomplishment just because I know a lot of people don't have like the best family life and like backgrounds and everything. So I'm very grateful for being able to these past few months that I've been home, just have a home where I can be and like a place where I feel like safe and comfortable in, you know, because I know I had like a lot of changes and like people are doing different things. People are moving out, they're getting apartments, they're doing all of this stuff. But just like being able to be home and everything, I feel like was just really nice. And I feel that I've gotten closer to my parents, both of my parents. I've always had like good relationships with my parents, but just overall I feel like I've gotten closer to both of them. And I think that that's something that I'm like very grateful for. Oh, and of course I my like flight attendant thing, I think that's an accomplishment too. So yeah, I'm really excited for those highs of 2025. I think it really shows a lot of growth and just like the foundations and everything. So yeah, that was some of my 2025 accomplishments.
And honestly, I feel like it's always good to like think back because I feel like sometimes you can get towards the end of the year and you're like, what did I even do? And it's like, wait, like I actually did a lot. Like I had one of those moments this year that I was like, what did I even do this year? That I'm like, wait, like I literally graduated college, started grad school, went to Chicago, went to New York City, like did all of these things. Like, girl, you have a lot to be proud of. And Elizabeth has a lot to be proud of. And I feel like as women, I get woke. I'm like, as women, I feel like they never want us to like you get called the B word for like bragging about your
Yes.
accomplishments But like, no, like we did that, and we're gonna talk about it because we should be proud of ourselves.
And I feel like I forgot who told me this, but I think it's so easy to think about like all the negative things before you think of the positives. Like always, I feel like when you're sitting down in whatever situation, you're always gonna quickly think of all the negatives and everything that's wrong, everything that went wrong, everything out of your control before you think of the things that like the good, and the positive. And it's really like just shows you how the bad can overshadow the good. But there is so much good, that you just need to like really like think about it too, because you need to, yes, like address like the bad stuff, but also like don't let the bad overshadow all the good too in the year. So I think that that's really good to just sit down and reflect on all the positive stuff that you did.
And now onto the low lows, because what would life be? Like the highs aren't the highs unless you have the lows, you know what I
Lows.
mean? But honestly, I'm like, I blocked it out of my mind. I know at some points I did struggle about like the end of college, but not in the sense of like, oh, like some people are like, I love college, like it was the best time of my life. And I never felt that way. I didn't have a typical college experience, as you might see in like the movies and on the internet and stuff, which I completely am fine with. I feel, again, everything happens for a reason. And I was just more so like the change of it all was kind of like, oof, I don't know how that's gonna be like. But so I remember having some low moments about like, what is my life? What am I doing? And feeling very anxious about that. And like that was pre sleep medication, I'm pretty sure. So your girl was not doing well. Had some sleepless nights or just sleeps or just nights where I didn't sleep as well. And honestly, the only other low that I could think about honestly is like my wreck, which is like again at the time I was distraught, and especially because it was something that was my fault, and I just felt so bad, like I just ruined all these people's day. I had this car and I just totaled it over like a stupid little mistake. But then I just kind of had to realize that like something that I saw when I went on the internet, because I was like, I just like the day of, I was just like, I just cannot get this like feeling off of my chest of like just how bad I feel. And I like looked up, I was like looking on Reddit, like other people who got into car wrecks, and I saw someone say like what helps is like you're not the first ever wreck to happen and you won't be the last. And that really, really helped. And I was like, low key, I was like, kind of how like it's kind of like self-absorbed to be kind of just thinking about how you might affect all these people's day, and the way that I'm just like, oh, like I just ruined these people's car, like I just ruined their life. I'm like, but who are you to like ruin someone else's life? You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I was just like, you need to stop focusing so much on yourself and just think like the bigger picture that everyone's okay. It's a learning moment and things happen. And I'm just thinking like so many people get into accidents. And I remember I talked to a friend who had gotten into an accident before, and that kind of helped as well. So just I feel like that whole situation just helped me think of things in a bigger light. Think of things as bigger than myself, because I was just like, I truly was like, why am I like worrying so much about like myself? If that makes sense. Like I just feel like I was just so focused on like, oh my god, how could I do this? How could I do this? But like it's not that deep at the end of the day. And then like I feel like that kind of carried on to other things. Like sometimes when I get kind of into my looks, like sometimes I have those moments where it's like, oh, like I like why is my face like this? Why is my body looking like this? But I'm like, girl, you're actually so obsessed just thinking about yourself. Like you need to fix that. Like there are other things going on in the world. Life is so much interesting than what you look like. So I feel like that while that wreck and what followed was a low moment, I feel like a lot more came out of it. Honestly, I feel like for the most part, because I am on medication, a lot of my mental health stuff has been regulated, and I know how to kind of deal with those things better, and it's not as intense. So honestly, I feel like I don't really have really bad low moments anymore. But yeah, I feel like the main thing is I often feel overwhelmed during the school semester, and it can get kind of like I just want to shut down, like I'm so tired, I can't do anything, and I just like start falling out of my routines and everything becomes a mess. But that is something I want to actively try to work on within the next year and just like get better routines so I can kind of reduce the level of stress and getting overwhelmed with everything.
I was just gonna say, like with your rec, I also think like Loki, like in a blessing of itself, that like you were like in a place where you were comfortable, you know, like you were still like in your hometown, like your parents were like nearby, you know. So I think that was like also like a good thing with the rec and everything, you know, that you weren't like in a big city all alone where you didn't know anyone, you didn't know what to do, you know. I feel like that would have been so much more stressful, but just like those situation of where it happened and the way and everything, I think also like added to like the alleviation of it all. I don't know. But now I'm gonna go ahead and get into some of my lows. I think I have like two that really come to mind. So my first one, I haven't talked about it too much on the pod, like in too much detail, but I have talked about how like I was going through it mentally. I was like really struggling, you know. So like I think like August around September, like that kind of era, you know, when everybody was like going back to school and all that kind of stuff. I think I really started getting into my thoughts and into my head and just like really like anxious and like overwhelmed about me like not knowing exactly what I wanted to do next, you know, whether I'm going to do like grad school, go into the work field, what work field, you know, like just like all those overwhelming questions of like post grad and everything were like really daunting on me, I feel like. And I just kind of started consuming all of my thoughts and just like the pressure that I was putting on myself, because I didn't feel necessarily like other people were putting pressure on myself, but you know, you always get in your thoughts in your head and it just like you blow things out of proportion without anybody else like actually like telling, you know. So I think I was just like really in my thoughts. So I was like feeling very overwhelmed. I was getting very anxious about different things. And then I kind of like fell into a bit of like of a depression, you know, just like with everything that was going on. I felt like very, very down. And I was really going through it, you know. But then I started, my mom like took me to the doctor and everything, and we went to the doctor, and I told the doctor how I was feeling, and I was put on some like medication and everything that I've been taking. So that was my first time ever like really dealing with like my mental health, you know, because I feel like before I hadn't really had, I was very like fortunate to not have like many mental health, I don't want to say issues, but like obstacles and everything to deal with. So that was like my first time like really coming to terms with like, okay, like I need to like take care of myself mentally. Like it isn't normal to like be feeling this way or like be going through all this. So that was when I really like took like the reins of like my health, I feel like. And with the medication I've been on, I feel so much better. Like that was like the lowest low I think I've had of 2025, but just like the lowest low in general I feel like I've had of my life so far. And just being able to like really acknowledge it, come to terms with it, and then like handle it and everything, and knowing that I had like friends and I had family, I had people to lean on, and it wasn't like just me alone, because I felt like very isolated kind of, you know. So I think that was a really big low that I had. And now I've been doing like so much better with like the medicine I've been on has really helped me with like with my anxiety, and I feel like I don't have like 800 million thoughts going on in my head, and I can really like focus on what I need to focus on, you know, and do things to better myself. So that was like something that I went through with like 2025 low, low, low. And then my other like low of the year, I would say, was just like dealing with grief. I talked about this on the pod, but my grandma, she passed away in 2025, kind of like towards the end of this, the like last quarter of 2025. And I've been very fortunate in my life to not really have to deal with like immediate loss. I've always like I've gone to funerals here and there, but I've never had anyone immediate to me pass away. So that was like my first close death that I had, and that was something that like I'd never felt those emotions with grief and everything. So just being able to really like see those emotions and deal with those and really feel them too, because it was something that I'd never really felt before, I think has also kind of like grounded me in a way and just allowed me to look at things from different perspectives that I wouldn't have otherwise. But yeah, those are like my two lows of the year. But I would say in the moment, they were very like low lows. And like even looking back on them, they still are like a low low. But also just like looking at it differently and changing the perspective of it all and everything, I think really has allowed me to like learn from those experiences and really come out of those experiences a better person, and not necessarily like let the experience dictate who I am or like what I do. So those are like some of my lows and just like the lessons I learned from them.
And it's crazy because during those lows, it feels like the actual end of the world. You're just like, I want this all to end. But it's just kind of like funny in a cruel way how life presents you with these lows, but then when you're on the other side, it just really just changes the way you think. Like when you're talking about the mental health thing, it's like it sucks in the moment, but then it's like, wow, it's kind of like a silver lining because it kind of gave you the opportunity to be like, okay, now I really need to start showing up for myself, taking care of myself. And now that's like things you're implementing in your routine now. And then on the topic of grief, I would say the biggest grief that I've had was when my grandfather passed away when I think I know I was in elementary school, but I think it was like fifth grade going into sixth grade. And I feel like ever since then, like ever since I was young, I've just have been like around death. I've been to a lot of funerals in my life, and I feel like it just really teaches you that life is precious, and I never take for granted like being around people. And I'm sure you've gained that perspective as well, just how like beautiful life is in general and our time spent on this earth is. And it truly is, I mean, it is something everyone's gonna have to go through. Like, I mean, death is the one thing that no matter if you're rich or poor, this or that, like everyone's gonna experience it, whether it's you dying or someone you know dies. So it really is such kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, just a very human experience. I don't know if that really says what I wanted it to say, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. It is like inevitable. It's the one thing that everyone's gonna go through. Like Kenny said, like there is no escaping it. Unfortunately, there is no like fountain of youth. Like none of that stuff is real, you know. So it's like something that you have to deal with eventually, and it's one of those things that it's when you least expect it, or like it most of the time it comes like very unexpected. So I think it really like it has a unique way of impacting you compared to other things that you can like prepare for, like do things for. And then like the on the like the mental health thing, I just wanted to add that I feel like your mental health is like that one thing, like unfortunately, that like it just keeps on like adding up and adding up and adding up until like your glass is so full that it overflows, and then that's like when it impacts you the most. Because like before that, I feel like you don't really like you brush it aside, or you think like, oh, this is normal, like this is like something normal, like everybody goes through this. And it isn't until like you're at that breaking point that it's like, no, like I have to like do this and like change these kinds of things. And that's like really unfortunate, just the way that it like works out. But just knowing that like that glass overflowing can like come back and not overfill. Yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense, but yeah, I hope you guys got it.
And I feel like what motivated me was to take charge of my mental health. I don't know if you felt the same, but like when it got to the worst of the worst before, I went to the doctor, it was like just seeing how it can like affect you physically is also kind of scary. That kind of scared me a bit. Like for the longest, I was worried about my heart. I was like, I'm so scared for my heart. But then when it got to the worst of the worst, like I genuinely was making myself sick of anxiety. Like my stomach would hurt real bad. And that's when I was like, wow, like medication is not enough. Like I need to like physically be doing things to like, keep my like your mental health is just as important as your physical health because it's all connected. Like even with stress, like another reason like I want to get my stress and stuff down and like handle it better for school is because like that stuff can take a toll on you physically.
No, like emphasis on how that your mental health just like domino effect into like everything about your body and everything. Because I feel like you get moments where like you're eating like I don't want to say you're eating too much, but you're eating not healthy food, you know? Or there's those moments where like you're not eating at all. So it's like that there's you need to find that balance in order to like to control it and to see how it's impacting everything. So it really does show that that one thing can really just domino effect until you're literally in the depths of it and you can't get up. But yeah, it's always just like knowing that there is an avenue out of that. And so for anyone like who's listening to this who might be like struggling with those like feelings or anything, you know, it's okay. Like you're gonna be fine. Yeah, like you'll there is like help and all that kind of stuff. And there is something, there's nothing wrong with you, but there is something like to help like balance it all out in your mind.
And now we're gonna like talk about like some things that we want to bring into 2026 that we thought, helped us in 2025. And honestly, just my attitude of being me. Like just keep being me because that's when I feel the most like that's really when things in my life work out the way that like I've manifested it to is when I am just being me, not letting things like not stressing too much and just like letting things be and let them play out because I trust myself. I've trust in God that everything's gonna work out. And I think I just need to keep that energy for 2026 to just build on the foundation that has been built.
I love that phrase. And honestly, just when I think of that, like just being me is when I'm the most happiest. Like when I think on the highest of my highs in 2025, when I was most happy is when I was truly being like true to myself and I wasn't like not being true to myself and like changing who I am to like please whoever it is that was there. But just truly being yourself is honestly the best way, the best motto for life. And then my little motto phrase that I want to take into 2026, I feel like it's always very similar, always the same, but just like it's going to be okay. It's going to work out in its own way. There's a timing for everything and everything happens for a reason. I kind of just joined like four different phrases together, but you get the gist of just like I feel like I really saw in 2025. I've always like me and Kenny have always thought of everything's gonna work out. It's gonna like it works out in its own way type of mindset. But I feel like 2025, I really saw like the fruition of it works out in its own way. It happens for a reason. I really, really saw that in 2025. So I want to really continue having that mindset into 2026 because it truly, like for me personally, it just makes me like not worry about stuff that's out of my control because I'm one of those people who wants to control things and like likes to have things look a certain way or like work a certain way. But I have to like acknowledge that not everything is going to work how I want it to and I can't control everything. I'm literally one person with two hands. I can't do it all. So just knowing that like it's all going to be it's okay. It's going to work out in its own time. Just really brings like a peace that I can like breathe. So I'm going to bring that into 2026 to hopefully set the mood with all the new things and changes that are going to be happening.
Yes, and just a little teaser for our episode when we come back. I think my word for 2026 is going to be the year of being selfish. I feel like that's going to be the overarching term.
I wonder what she means, you guys. You know what? I'm gonna steal Kennedy's word too. That's gonna be selfishness is going to be our word for the podcast for us. And no, we don't mean that in a bad way. I guess you'll just have to see in 2026 when we come back. But without further ado, you guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast and for being here with us through this journey of 2025. If you've been listening with us, if you're a new listener, we are welcoming you guys into the fold, into the Girls Lounge family, into 2026. We hope to continue to bring a little, I don't know, little podcast Wednesdays and spice up your Wednesdays for you guys in 2026. Make sure you guys are following all of our social medias, specifically our Instagrams, because like Kenny said at the beginning of the episode, we are going to be taking a little short break in January, just kind of like getting ready for 2026. So make sure you guys follow us on Instagram so you guys can see when our next episode will be going live, probably towards the end of January, but keep an eye out on all of our socials. And thank you guys so much for a great 2025. We'll see you guys in the new year. Bye.
Bye.